Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Neeti here. We talk about relationships, how to simplify them, how to make it more interesting, how to make it less painful, how to make it less stressful also, specifically for men so that you understand women better. Also for men to make their lives easy when it comes to approaching a girl, dating, in a steady relationship or married life. I bring you 5 dating tips which are very practical, easy. So point number 1, dressing up. Now, by dressing up on a first date is important because you're trying to put an impression. See, आप कितना भी कह लें, or no matter how much you say that, no, I'm going to play hard to get, I don't want to dress up for a girl, I don't want to prove a point, who is she, I want to pay more attention to my mother, she's more important, girls are, not important, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Listen, when you go out to meet a girl who you like, you would put your best foot forward when it comes to dressing up, right? आपकी wardrobe में जो भी है, I'm sure you have a great dressing style. So it's just important to dress up. आप कोई बहुत shabby dress up होके तो नहीं जाएंगे, right? So maybe just a simple white t-shirt with a shirt on top and maybe shorts or pants or denims, depending on where you are, what kind of weather there is, and where you guys are going. So dress sharp, dress immaculate, because that always puts an impression on the girl. Okay, so moving on to point number 2. Okay, this point is extremely important because in all dates, it's expected out of men to have a plan, to have a place in mind, what food you're going to eat, the kind of cuisine, what is the next step, and all this girls absolutely dig in. They absolutely love in men. So I'm not saying that the pressure has to be on you, but it's always nice, when you know where you're taking her, depending on your budget as well. Extremely important. So if your weather in your city is nice, you could probably take her out somewhere in a park. You could take her to a small restaurant. Why I say small? Because bigger restaurants will always have a lot of crowd. There's a lot of loud music. You don't want all that. It could be a nice, sweet coffee shop as well. The idea for a first date is that you guys get to spend time together and talk a lot. You have to get to know each other. Only then you decide whether you want to go in for a second date, whether you like the girl, whether you're interested or not. I say absolutely no to movies because it's a dark place. You're only distracted by a movie. You're having your popcorn and your Coke, and that's about it. Where's the time to talk? So you're just wasting your 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever. And then another place that, mostly I don't encourage is fancy places or very, very high-end expensive restaurants or, these kind of places because, again, you're very distracted how to walk, how to talk, how to sit. Your mannerism has to be in a proper way. So I personally feel that you should be yourself in your first date. And it should not be about the environment. So I think one of the best places is, depending on the weather, a park or a coffee shop or a restaurant. Make sure that it's not a very, very crowded place or a place where there's a lot of loud music, because the idea is for the two of you to sit and chill together. Moving on to point number 3. Conversations, baatein, talking. This is extremely important, and that is why point number 3, you have to listen very, very carefully. When I say conversations, it's not just about you talking and her talking. It's about how do you connect from one thing to the other. देखिए, एक होता है effortless talking. One is when you have to think, अब मैं क्या बात करूँ, and you don't go prepared with questions. अच्छा, मैं ये पूछ लेता हूँ, फिर मैं ये पूछ लेता हूँ, मैंने ये पढ़ा था इस article में, I read this about this article. 21 questions you should ask a girl when you're going on a date to impress her. Listen, all of that doesn't work. Practical life mein, what really, really works is when you are listening to the girl very carefully. If she's saying, for example, I am a TV producer and, the life or the work life is very hectic, listen to it carefully. What she is saying. From there, you will get your cue card. From there, you will get the cue or another point on which you can talk. So this is how conversation becomes effortless. Your pre-planned questions, पहले से prepare करके आने वाले questions, they don't work. ये कोई interview नहीं है. यहाँ पे you're coming because you like the person and you want to chill. Also, I think if you follow the girl on Instagram or social media, it's very easy to get to know that, what is exactly happening in her life or where she's traveled or what she's reading or what she's doing. But be careful what you're asking because this is your first date. You should not come across as an Instagram stalker that you're only talking about मैंने ये देखा था post में, मैंने ये देखा था reel में. So you can be a little little careful, you know, a little easy and slow. And also, please don't be one of those guys who only talk about themselves. Trust me, I have been on such dates and it is so boring. The guy is only talking about himself, you know, मैंने ये किया, मैंने वो किया, मेरे work में ऐसा था, and then this happened. And I'm like, but सुनो वो, I mean, I also want to say something. I also want to talk. So don't be that kind of guy, please. Anyway, so moving on to our next point. Please try and pay on the first date. See, I might sound very old school, old thoughts, but girls always love when the guys pay on the first date at least. See, later on when you start hanging out and you're going on several dates, of course you guys can go Dutch, or maybe, you know, she can pay sometimes and you can pay sometimes. There has to be an understanding as well. But on the first date, if you pay, it just comes across like, you know, you have taken the charge. Why I mentioned in point number 2 that you decide the place according to your budget. You don't have to take her to a very fancy place. Please don't let all your guards down that, you know, I'm a moneyed guy and I can afford a lot of fancy places and fancy gifts. No. Sometimes you might come across a girl who might take advantage of that. So make sure your first date has to be in a nice, simple, sweet place. And when you pay, of course, then it's always loved by the girls. And yes, not on your first date, it's not required that you have to get flowers or chocolates or a gift for a girl. Not required. You don't know how the date's gonna go. You don't know whether you're gonna meet her for the second time, whether you will like her or she will like you. So maybe just keep it simple, right? Moving on to our next point. It's also very, very important. You should know where to put an end or a stop to your date. Now, let's say, for example, you have met her for brunch. आपने brunch के लिए decide किया है, दोनों अपना अच्छे से खा पी रहे हैं, you guys are talking, but somewhere at some point you feel that, you know, you are not gelling well, you're not clicking. At the end of the brunch, when you finish food, you know, you can always take a call and you just say that, yeah, it was great meeting you, and that's it. You can finish the date. You don't have to prolong it. You don't have to carry on. So, and yes, on the other hand, if you think the girl's interesting and she's liking your company, you are loving her company, absolutely, then there is no question. You just have to take it forward, right? So then maybe you can make her a part of your plan, what you're doing later part, you know, the latter part of the day, later, what are you doing? तो उसमें ये क्या होता है कि you get more and more time to spend together. But you should be in control when to put an end to the date. If you're not enjoying the company, maybe after brunch you could just say that, hey, I had a great time, and you know, that's it. No explanations, not too much talking. And that is why the last thing that one has to remember, and please men out there, just make sure that when you are finishing the date for that day and you are saying your bye-byes, then you don't have to over-compliment the girl or say too many things. Just say, hey, I had a good time, and that's it. You don't have to sound very needy. You don't have to sound like, you know what, let's make a plan, let's do this and let's do that. No, hold on. Go back home. Think about it. Think it through, whether you have enjoyed her company, maza aaya, nahi aaya, do you want to meet her again or not? All of those things. And then maybe you could just leave her a message and text her that, hey, you know what, it was fun and I think we should do it again. So these are very few simple points that, you know, at any point, a man should not feel that they are on the receiving end. You know, a man or a boy should never feel when you're going out on a date, yeah, mujhe dump kar diya jata hai. No. Girls are not so bad, and even you guys are not so bad. It's just the way you are approaching it. It's just the way you are keeping things in a flow. So I hope these practical 5-6 pointers, they help you on your dates, on all kinds of your first dates. And I'll be back with some more videos. See you. Subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to get notification for new videos. Ta-da!